Before we jump in, I wanted to apologize if this video seems really out of place given the current situation. I know that luxury fashion is like so far from the most important thing right now, and honestly it seems kind of dystopian to talk about, but I did have a lot of really good footage, and I know everybody's looking for a distraction nowadays, so I hope this video can be that, and I hope you guys are all safe.
I got these opportunities one after the next just to start this career and to walk in runway shows in New York, Milan, Paris.
If you play it right, your worst career move can be a best opportunity.
Every brand today is a media company. We're not dependent on magazines or news outlets anymore to share our story.
That whole world can breed a lot of like elitism and feeling like, I don't know, feeling self-conscious and feeling like you're not good enough if you're keeping up with the trends.
You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a professional athlete, entrepreneur.
Ashley, do you remember when you said you were going to just take this fashion week easy?
Yeah, that was funny. That was a knee slapper, wasn't it?
As you probably know, Ashley, Tom Ford was the creative director of the Gucci Group for several years, and when he created his fashion wear company, the first few shows that he did, he banned social media. So he obviously thought that there was something to be said about the exclusiveness and the idea that you want to offer a very small peek into his designs. But now he had a show on the eve of the Oscars with biggest names in not even fashion, in Hollywood, in the world. I would say a pretty consistent thought in the industry now that bigger is better. You want to be on social media. You want to create a dent in the conversation.
So influencers, which is not my favorite word, but we're going with it, get invited to Fashion Week essentially because you have a following and brands of course want to like spread their collection with like a wider audience. And so that's a lot of times, well, to invite an influencer is to have them come to their event and then, you know, post and share about the collection. I have a manager, and for the most part, my manager just sends me invites that she gets. But then I also know some other influencers that like will directly reach out to a designer or a PR company or a brand and being like, hey, I'm here for Fashion Week, I'd love to attend.
How'd I get invited? My best theory is that somebody got really fucking high. Before we get into the action of this vlog, I did want to explain how I actually got invited to New York Fashion Week because I feel like nobody actually explains it, and for the longest time I thought that at some point in your life the fashion gods just like ordained upon you Fashion Week status. Like, I didn't know how it actually worked. So the first way I got invited was through working with a brand. So on Instagram, I've been working with Marc Jacobs fragrances for like 6 months now. So that was kind of how I knew everybody, and that was how I got to the Marc Jacobs show. So thank you very much, Paige and Anna and everybody who works on that team. The second way I got into fashion shows is through this guy, Derek Blasberg, who you will see throughout this video. That looks great.
Is it on? Is it going?
He is a former editor at Harper's Bazaar, at Vanity Fair, and now he is the head of fashion at YouTube. And Derek was like, oh, you want New York Fashion Week, bitch? I'll give you New York Fashion Week. He ended up setting up like a full New York Fashion Week schedule for me, which is insane and never something that I could have done on my own. That being said, none of this video is paid for or sponsored by YouTube or anybody else. It's all my own thoughts. And the last reason I'm getting to do any of this is obviously because of you guys. I don't want to sound too like hashtag blessed, hashtag grateful, but I am really grateful to you guys. So thank you guys. And without further ado, here's the vlog. I worked really hard on it. I hope you enjoy.
When I started in fashion in the sort of early noughties, there was definitely this idea of a fashion girl uniform. We heard a lot about it bags, it shoes, and of course those things still exist. But I think what I'm looking for and what other people who work in fashion are looking for is a sense of ease, a sense of self-confidence, and people who just look good and feel good in what they've got on.
So I know like before I attended Fashion Week, in my head I was like, everything has to be like Prada and Gucci and be thousands of dollars, when in reality I feel like people do appreciate a good outfit that is just like well styled. I feel like a lot of times like I'll ask girls at events, I'll be like, oh, like tell me about your outfit. Half of their outfit is thrifted and the rest are from like very normal stores. If you wear a really cool outfit, a lot of times like people just appreciate it for that.
So I just found out that I'm going to New York Fashion Week. For some context, my moving boxes arrived into my apartment literally yesterday. I spent all of yesterday unpacking, although there is a significant amount of just pure unadulterated crap that I've hidden off camera that will stay hidden unless I decide to expose myself, which I probably will with a clip that you guys are seeing right now. New York Fashion Week actually already started, but I just got the invite to my shows today. My shows start tomorrow, so I am gonna start picking out outfits, I guess. I am a little bit concerned because most people either like hire a stylist for several $1,000s or they spend several weeks going around showrooms trying to pick out outfits, but I literally have whatever came out of my moving boxes this morning. Let's see what I can put together. Let's hope I don't embarrass myself in front of all the important fashion people. My favorite game. Print belt? No, that's hideous. So I'd done some research looking at street style photos from fashion weeks and I was trying to figure out what the dress code was, but it really like wasn't as universally fancy as I thought it was. People were wearing everything from like full-on designer suits to a band tee that they thrifted. Ooh, ooh! Add some accessories to match the little pearl button detail. Look at this shit, guys. Honestly, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just throwing together outfits, but I was trying to wear as much thrifted clothing as possible just because, I don't know, I feel like it's the most unique stuff in my wardrobe, and I also just really wanted somebody to ask me who I was wearing, and I could tell them that I got it for like $5 at a Goodwill. I have to pee, I'll be right back. Old men on this channel, don't get too excited, okay? Ah! Okay, maybe get a little excited. Okay. Oh, yes, double knot. Now, I was left to my own devices to put together most of my outfits, but Cynthia Rowley and Alice Olivia actually lent me clothing to wear to their show.
Hi, here you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So if you see people wearing designer clothing at Fashion Week, like 90% of the time they don't actually own it, it's just on loan from the brand. So like never let any of these photos or videos make you feel bad about not owning luxury fashion because none of us do. And social media is just a big fat lie. Okay, great. And with that, I went to sleep very nervous for my first day of Fashion Week ever. Ah!
If you play it right, your worst career move can be a best opportunity. My first job out of college was working at Vogue magazine, and I was a terrible assistant. It's a long story, we'll get into it in another video. And I was ultimately fired, and at that moment I thought my career was over. I was gonna move back home with my parents in Missouri. I was going to have to cut my grandmother's lawn to make ends meet. But what ultimately happened is that was a learning experience for me. I had to add a little bit more hustle. I had to go freelance. I never said no to any job. So ultimately, getting fired was, I think, the secret to my success. Anna once said, everyone should be fired once. It's a great lesson. So she did it.
I used to have that really nervous energy too, and I still get it. I get adrenaline. I'm gonna do a runway show tonight. I will definitely be nervous. But I think you have to use that adrenaline and excitement to make you be present and to focus. You can't allow you to doubt yourself. I don't know, I think that's an age thing.
To be honest, I have been very nervous the past couple days. Whenever I do something new that pushes me out of my comfort zone or that challenges me or that there is like a real possibility that I fuck up, it makes me so fucking nervous. But it's definitely a good type of nervous. I used to avoid this feeling a lot more, but I think I realized that every kind of important step that I take in my life comes with this fucking terrible anxious feeling, and it's just a sign that I'm really pushing myself out of my comfort zone and doing what I should be doing. I think if you're never nervous in your life, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough. So hi, it is very rainy, but this is my outfit. So the reason I was being so fucking dramatic as I was getting ready is that for my first show, Alice and Olivia, I was actually allowed to go backstage and document the whole process of everybody getting ready and all the work that goes into producing a fashion show, which honestly just made me so excited. I'm living my best Jane by Design dream, and I don't just mean that because I went on a date with Nick Rue once. True story, but for another time. Anyways, this is what the chaos of backstage looked like. Truly the best metaphor I could come up with is that it's like a giant anthill. To the untrained eye, it is absolute chaos, but it seems like everybody who's actually involved has this sense of like, I don't want to say it's a ballet performance because that's fucking pretentious, but everyone who's involved and who's been through fashion shows before seems to know the flow of people going from the makeup stand to getting their photo taken to getting in place downstairs. Before I arrived, the models had already been getting into their outfits, which was planned literally down to the last fingernail. One of the coolest things I found backstage was this plan of all the stages that the models were going to stand on, and they had already pinned the exact looks for all of the models in the places they were going to be standing. I just thought it was cool to see how meticulously planned all of this was. Over in hair and makeup, the makeup artists were working on a smoky eye, and here I was able to catch Justine for a quick chat about hair.
Hey, it's Justine Marjan. I am the Tresemme Global Stylist. I've been doing hair for 15 years, and this is my 7th season doing shows at New York Fashion Week. So we did 70s glam rock waves on all the girls, so like a barely there, really cool girl wave, and then added little Swarovski crystals with tweezers and hair glue just to add like a little shimmering essence to the hair. So to come up with the look for the show, I work with Stacy, and we kind of like talk about inspiration and what her ideas are and what mine are, and then probably a week before the show we do a hair test where we try out different styles and come up with something perfect for the collection. So I started out as a salon stylist, and I worked in a salon for 8 years. Then I moved to LA and started assisting because I knew I wanted to do more like celebrity editorial. I got really great assisting opportunities in LA and worked with some great mentors, and then they eventually referred me to their clients, and it was kind of like word of mouth, one thing after another. So I always say my best advice to aspiring creatives is just be nice to everyone on set. Always think about how you can help everyone, and don't have an ego.
Over in the center of the swarm, models were lining up to get photos and videos taken before the actual show started. This was a way to get clear shots of all the models for press releases, e-commerce, and social media before all the audience members arrived and things got, if you could believe it, even more chaotic. Honestly, for a long time, I really dismissed the job of a model because I just thought they were lucky that they had nice faces and then they just kind of stood around. But through my very rose art off-brand version of modeling that I do for my self-timer photos, I realized it is really damn hard to look good for a camera. And you know, a lot of these girls at Fashion Week are doing multiple shows in a row. Many of them started working when they were like 15 or 16 years old. So now I both have a lot of respect for the skill that goes into modeling, but also how tough it must be to be a professional and to be judged so harshly on your looks at such a young age.
Hi, I'm Megan Polari. What?
Perfect. There's like chaos behind you as you're doing.
Okay. I had been working with Alice and Olivia for 3 years now. I was scouted back in Columbus, Ohio. My debut was walking the Victoria's Secret fashion show back in 2015. The most challenging part, I would say, is, well, it's kind of a good thing too, but if you've worked a lot and you feel tired and a bit overworked, it's hard to bring that energy sometimes, but you know, I consider it a challenge, and you can always push further. It's even like just like working out or something, you always have a little bit more energy than you think you do. And my favorite part about it is meeting all the amazing people I've met in my life, like Andy.
I'm Ona. I'm a model. So this will be my 3rd season, and this will be actually my 3rd time with Alice and Olivia. A couple days ago, a show I had to wear like a size 12 heel, and I wear a 10, so like they're really hard to walk in. And I was nervous about that, so that's like the craziest story I have. Like shoes, like sometimes you either have to squeeze your foot into like a smaller shoe or a bigger shoe.
I can't even like walk in heels, but they fit.
Oh my god, it's like so nerve-wracking because it's like then you have to focus on not falling and stuff. So yeah.
After a few last-minute makeup touch-ups, and yes, even some people getting pinned into their clothing, Project Runway style, it was time to head downstairs and see how everything came together.
How's your fashion week been?
This is my first show of my first fashion week ever.
Oh my god, how exciting!
So yeah, it's quite the way to start.
Everything you've ever wanted to do is doing it. contest of making order victorious over chaos or battle.
One that builds up and creates.
Manifest the idea. Now then, you see.
What's the secret to happiness? Finding something you love and then doing that for the rest of your life. What is freedom? Waking up in the morning and going to sleep at night.
So first of all, let's just talk about these goddamn textures on these designs. Oh my gosh. I love all of the different fabrics and the beading and the jacquard. Ooh, but almost more than that, this being the first fashion show I'd gone to, I was amazed by the set design and how much it felt like being on a movie set and how much fucking work went into every single detail. In case you're wondering why the models are standing rather than walking down a runway, it's because this is a showcase. So that's where the models stand in a set and the audience kind of comes and goes throughout 2 to 3 hours. So it allows a little more flexibility with people who are going to a bunch of different events, and especially in the social media era, it allows people more time to kind of go about and take photos at their own pace rather than having like 5 seconds to snap a model going down the runway.
And start the day.
I will say there was a little bit of a weird zoo vibe going on. It was strange to see, you know, like real live humans standing on a set and then across from them, other humans just like flashing photos of them and taking videos, and I know it's their job, but it was definitely something to like mentally adjust to. Did it feel a little objectifying? Maybe, but I guess that's just like the modeling industry for you. Anyways, here is a quick interview with Stacey Vendette, the CEO and designer of Alice Olivia, that I was very nervous for.
The inspiration this season was a woman who's like fierce and independent, and she travels the world and just gathers inspiration everywhere she goes. So I called her the Globetrotter. And in truth, as I was working on this collection, I was also designing a new apartment, and I just kept seeing things come to life as clothes. It would be a rug, and I'd think it was a jacket. It would be a wallpaper, and I'd be like, that's a print for a dress. My designs and design process are always what I kind of call stream of consciousness. Life is what inspires you as a designer, and everything you're seeing and what you're doing are just sort of often what you bring to life in clothing.
So one of the things that I admire most about you is that you started Alice Olivia from the ground up without going to fashion school.
I did.
So could you tell me a little bit about kind of the origin story?
I took sewing classes and I took classes after college, and I started making my own pants. One of the things I always advise designers on even today is that when you're starting, be known for one thing. Whether it's a pant or a jacket or a top or sustainability, or, you know, you've got to have your focus. And for a few years, my focus was pants, and I mastered making great fitting pants. And really what you saw over the next few years was sort of my years in fashion school, right? Like I had to learn about making sweaters, designing dresses, production, cutting, sewing, pattern making, everything else. My education was perhaps out of the box, but real life.
Is the role of Fashion Week for designers changing in an increasingly digital world? I saw that you guys started a TikTok.
We did start TikTok. It's about evolving. It's about being modern. Every brand today is a media company. We're not dependent on magazines or news outlets anymore to share our story. We have a voice and we have the ability to share our story. But to do that, you've got to create a lot of content.
If you could go back and give your 20-year-old self any piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh my God, so many things. All I can say to my 20-year-old self was, thank God there wasn't YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram then.
Wait. Oh yeah. If you guys have extensions, don't forget to get them taken out.
The nipple covers are coming off. That's how you know it's potato time, baby. Hey guys, welcome back to my apartment. I've changed into my comfy overalls and I'm currently in potato mode. I don't know if you guys relate to this, but like every time I do something that's very stressful that I have to be very like on for in terms of being professional, being well put together, making sure my outfit is like all tucked in and secured and my makeup and hair is looking good, then I just need to like take time afterwards and be a lump. I imported the footage that I got from Alice and Olivia. I've been looking over it, editing. So far, I'm honestly feeling really inspired. I really didn't expect being at the Alice and Olivia show to feel so different from going into one of their stores. I think that, you know, shopping for fashion and looking at fashion magazines has always been a way that I get inspired, but like literally being surrounded by the people of fashion, seeing the models in real life and the way that the clothing is draped, and getting to talk to Stacey herself, even if it was only for a couple minutes, it just got me so excited because I feel like fashion for a very long time has been a world that I've only seen through a screen or through the pages of a magazine. I've always felt like I have so many degrees of separation from it, and even though fashion is part of my job, it feels like a very kind of bedroom version of fashion, and I never thought that I would actually see those people in real life and get to talk to them and be part of this world that I literally only watched on TV for so long. The reason that I'm so excited to share this stuff with you guys as well is I grew up in like a small town in Maryland. I felt like there were these elusive worlds of fashion and film that I like literally wasn't sure if it was just a pipe dream that I wanted to be part of or whether it was even real, because I didn't know real people who did that. So I hope like in a small way I can kind of be like, I'm your hometown friend who is showing you this stuff, and like I swear if I can be at Fashion Week that you guys also have access to those worlds, if that makes sense. They're not as closed off as you think, and I promise that whatever like creative field that you want to get into, there's a way into it. Anyways, I have some food to eat and then I'll get ready for Proenza Schouler, our next show.
The thing that is consistent about a good fashion show is when you walk away feeling moved or I mean, you've been to some shows now, you know the feeling you get when you walk out of a good one and you feel like, oh wow, that was something incredible, that was spectacular, that was spectacle, that was special, yeah. All the spuzz.
Hi! Okay, so I'm all fed, kind of well rested, ready for round 2. So this is my look for Proenza Schouler. So I just Googled it and I found out that it's pronounced Proenza Schouler. And I was pronouncing it wrong the whole time. Honestly, I still don't know whether it's Ralph Lauren or Ralph Lauren, so what did you guys expect? It's a very similar color scheme to my Alice and Olivia look earlier today, but it's honestly just a little bit warmer because I did not want to freeze my legs off in shorts again. And I decided to wear my prescription glasses. Bad eyesight squad. Yay, hopefully the fashion people like my outfit. To say the least, Proenza Schouler was a really intimidating show. And I mean that in a good way. I was intimidated by all the people there, by this absolute massive squad of cameramen. The models were strutting by. It very much felt like the classic fashion show scene from like a rom-com or something. Also, I tried to take a photo of Emily Ratajkowski because I could see her from my seat, and I was like trying to do one of those subtle things where I kind of like was panning, and I was like, oops, I'm not taking a photo of you, and she definitely saw me.
Well done, boys!
We're trapped here forever. This is where we die now.
And you see like how they line them up?
Oh.
That's when you probably know Gigi Hadid, Maya Gerber, Doubtson just on the YouTube channel.
My colleague.
A little bit? Does it work at all?
Yeah. We'll fix it in post.
Okay, good, yeah. Just put a filter on it.
Exactly. I'll just put film grain all over it and it'll be vintage. Not gonna lie, that is the main reason that I did those artsy black and white interviews earlier in the video. It's because I've dropped my camera so many times taking self-timer photos that it is absolute trash now, and none of the auto exposure or color balance works properly, so my footage is awful. What did you think of the show?
I think it's great. Proenza Schouler's a sort of a contemporary of mine. They started just after they graduated from Parsons. Barney's famously bought their graduate collection.
Oh my god.
I mean, Barney's just closed. there's an edge, but there's still a little bit of refinement to it. What did you think?
I was just amazed how fast it went. Like, they were zooming down the runway. I liked what I saw, but I think I'm gonna have to go and like look it up on Vogue and like really take a look at like the full piece, because I was just like,
and all the detail shots. I often think about that when my mom comes to Fashion Week, or someone who doesn't work in the industry, and they say, you know, these guys work on this show for 6 months and it's over in 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. A long time ago, shows were really about sellability. So, you know, the models would hold numbers and you could order the look based on the number that they were holding. And nowadays, shows are less about memorizing the numbers and the actual looks and more about a feeling or an emotion or trying to sum up what those guys are thinking about in a show in just that 12 minutes.
Have shows gotten quicker over history then?
Yes.
Okay. Imagine like in the TikTok era, there's gonna be like a 7-second show and they'll all just be like TikTok dancing down the runway.
I mean, not no, like, yeah. From your mouth to the tech god's ears, that's probably where it's gonna be headed.
All right, on that anticlimactic note, you guys actually requested on an Instagram poll that I split my New York Fashion Week videos into 3 parts rather than one, like literally over an hour-long video. So next week I will be putting out part 2, and the week after that will be part 3. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!